It is day 2 in Tokyo, and it's supposed to be sort of drizzling all day. Tim and I are going to the Tsukiji Fish Market. Later we're gonna head to the Asakusa Shrine. So with that, headed to Tsukiji. Headed to Tsukiji. Clearly, we did not make it out very early.
Number 1, get there late. This was our biggest sin when it comes to Tsukiji. Stuff happens early at the market. Auctions start around 5:30, and everything else kind of follows from there. I don't think we arrived until maybe 9:30. And it's not like we were surprised by this. We knew we had to get there early, we just didn't. After our late arrival, it didn't take long for the other dominoes to fall.
We were late for another appointment.
2, be in a hurry. By the time we did get there, many vendors were starting to pack up, and others had sold much of their haul for that day. This prompted us to speed around the marketplace in an attempt to see as much as possible before it was all packed up. That's not how you should experience any marketplace.
It was raining.
Number 3, forget an umbrella. On top of our frantic pace, it was also raining that day in Tokyo. You'd think living in Florida for so many years, I'd have learned to always have an umbrella on hand. But of course, I did not. There are some areas of Tsukiji that are covered, but there are large portions that are not. Bring an umbrella if the forecast calls for rain. So yeah, if you're looking to check out Tsukiji Market, don't do what we did. Do the opposite.
Tip to anybody out there, if you want to do Tsukiji, you do actually have to get there early.
Saying Tokyo's nightlife is unique is like saying the Sahara Desert is hot. Kind of an understatement. With that in mind, this list doesn't even scratch the surface of things you can do in the giant metropolis. But hopefully, it'll start you off in the right direction.
So Tokyo is home to a vibrant nightlife, as I'm sure you know, as any big city is. That being said, the first thing we have up is something that's uniquely Tokyo, and something I think that's really cool as well.
Robot restaurant may be one of the hardest things to describe, but it's also one of the most fun things to do in Tokyo. Although they do serve food, the main draw of Robot Restaurant is its show, and that is something you have to see for yourself. It has everything you could ever ask for in a show, and so many things you would never even think to. Singing, robots, good versus evil, a hip-hop laser light show, giant parrots doing the YMCA. I could go on forever. But I wouldn't want to. Half the fun of the show is the surprise of what happens next. The best I can do is a quick montage. And if that doesn't convince you to see the show, well, maybe you and I just have a different definition of fun. Shibuya Crossing is the most trafficked pedestrian crossing in the world. And at night, the area radiates with color, from the bright neon lights, to the colorful taxis, to the bustle of thousands of pedestrians that cross every time the light changes. For a good view of the crossing itself, I recommend the view from Shibuya Market City, which is where we actually took this time lapse. Speaking of great views, Tokyo is home to an abundance of observatories that offer exceptional vantage points of the city. Of course, you could visit one of these during the day, but I would also recommend trying one out at night. Tokyo Tower is worth checking out at night, even if you decide not to go up. I will point out, it's best to check the schedule of the observatory you plan to visit. Oftentimes, they have events at night which can be closed to the general public. Last up on the list of night spots is the Akihabara neighborhood. If you like flashing lights, loud noises, and an endless variety of tech and geek culture, well, Akihabara might just be for you. First, there's Don Quixote, which I would say is kind of like a Japanese Walmart, except much more, interesting. Do you need underwear with your favorite cartoon character on it? Don Quixote's got that. Silicone enhancer pads? You'll find those right next to the luggage. What about cartoon Halloween costumes? Right next to... oh, wait. We can't show that. There's a whole section of Don Quixote that we can't show. But the point is, if you're looking for something you didn't know you wanted from Japan, Don Quixote might be a good place to start. Next up in Akihabara is the Sega Arcade Building. Boasting a variety of both crane and video games, this multi-story complex will keep you entertained for hours. I will say, Tim wasn't the biggest fan. Smoking is generally allowed in the building, and it's kind of got a casino vibe, so fair warning if that's not your thing. Finally, no visit in Akihabara would be complete without a stop to one of its figurine stores, and Radio Kaikon is jam-packed with them. Got a favorite character from pop culture? There's a good chance you'll find what you're looking for somewhere in one of the building's several stores. I would point out, we went on a weekday, and the stores closed relatively early for the area, around 9 p.m., so just make sure you give yourself enough time to find what you're looking for. Night or day, Tokyo is a pretty special place. But there's something about walking around at night in the city. Something, I don't know, I just can't put my finger on it. But what I do know is that it's something you just have to experience for yourself.
But now we're going to the Asakusa Shrine. It's actually kind of stopped raining, which is nice. But yeah, we're just gonna explore that kind of like we did Meiji Shrine yesterday. Asakusa Shrine is pretty cool. It's much more touristy, much more crowded than Meiji Shrine, so just know that going in. Planning this Tokyo trip, Tokyo has an overwhelming number of things to do, and we're never going to be able to hit all of them. I think as a traveler, you should never let not being able to do one thing ruin your entire trip. I think if you let that happen, maybe you've lost sight of the big picture, which is just being in a foreign place and experiencing all that there is to sort of take in when you're there. So with that, I think we're going to end today's video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.